Stop playing with the bloody car door.
Somebody going off. Yeah, Dr. Clark gave him his orders, yeah.
Doesn't matter if you wasn't that keen in front of the
How you do? Like a bloody mother.
She's got some relations down here.
Yeah, I reckon.
Hey, excuse me, the rugby over there.
Do a quick one. Okay. Stand on the side.
Sir?
I'll just do an interview with you.
Oh, yes, sure.
About the game.
Yes, sure.
Just face the camera. As soon as you're ready. Just take it on in.
Hey, I got there too, by the way.
Just look straight up.
I didn't need your ride.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, that's him.
That's a good win, mate.
Yeah, no, it was.
Excellent win.
Do you want to stand in, Andy? Take both of you together?
Yeah.
Do now come along today. It's a constructive game of rugby. What the Coast boys can do, it must give them impetus to get work as well. The Coast's a good place to live on. It's a good place to play rugby on. Therefore, it must be a good place to get a job. And that'll come.
Andy?
Yeah, well, it's been the Coast Days. You know, it's kind of Richard to say that, but today really was the Coast Day. I just hope that they can capitalise on that game, don't rest on their laurels, and I know for sure that Poverty Bay will be more than ready when the return fixture is down there, and I just hope perhaps this year we could make it 2 out of 2.
Oh, I hope not, Andrew.
Yeah, no.
That's my first year in the union, 2 out of 2.
No, I think we might do it this year.
Okay, Richard, you think you'll have the same squad again for the next match?
I think there's some changes in the squad, and not because of today. I think that we've named a squad for this 2 games, and then we go into club rugby for quite a good beat now, and we'll have a new squad coming out, and there will be some new names, and there would have been regardless of today. We've got 2 or 3 players not available, 1 or 2 players coming on, knocking on the squad. No, we'll have a good squad next time. I don't think that Andrew may be right, we may get the 2 wins, but no, it'll be a good game next time.
Okay, the squad's moving down on Monday down to
Hawke's Bay.
Would it be the same squad?
Oh yeah, it is the same squad, no. There'll be no changes in the squad. There may be changes on the paddock, but no changes in the squad.
Last words, Richard?
Well, I just say all the best to the Coast for the rest of the season. We certainly will look forward to them going in the National Championship games, and we support you, and you're not beating us.
Okay then, thank you, Richard. Kath McLean, Secretary, East Coast Rugby Football Union. Well, Kath, what do you think of the game today?
Oh, well, I thought it was tremendous for the boys to play a game like that. It'll be a great lead up to their 2 games in the South Island starting next week. They're playing West Coast first and then Nelson Bays, and this will be a real boost for them, I would think.
Okay, did you ever think that the boys would have come out on top today?
Oh yes, we've come out on top before. We've come out on top in Araroa before too. Perhaps I had some doubts about whether they'd come out on top today against Poverty Bay, because they're always a pretty slick team. But I think Poverty Bay was probably a big disappointment to themselves and the administrators, because they just didn't seem to be able to get it together for some reason. I've never seen Poverty Bay play like that before.
What do you think of the East Coast in the future?
We've got plenty of potential. We can see it in the Colts. There's some excellent players coming through, and we've got a good team here, a good young team, and mixed with experience. They're a more mobile pack now, and that makes a big difference. I think we've got the message. You can't play the big heavy forwards anymore. You've got to play the sleeker guys.
Okay, let's go back in history. When was the last time that the East Coast ever defeated Poverty Bay?
Oh, I couldn't remember that. I'll have to look it up in my records to see. I think it's not so long ago. I think that we beat them at Tolaga Bay. And that was about 20 points to 12, I would think. It was a non-championship game, but we did beat them.
Last words, Kath?
Oh, all the best to East Coast for their tour next week and for the rest of the season. The coaching panel and selecting panel have put a lot of work into selecting their team, and they've had some defections and had to replace players, but they seem to be on the right track.
Okay, Kath, thank you very much.
Thank you.
End of interview. Okay, interview with Sid Clark, East Coast versus Poverty Bay, June the 1st, 1991. Well, Sid, a win for the East Coast today against Poverty Bay. How do you feel?
Well, naturally, I feel elated, actually, particularly for our guys. I thought that they played a magnificent game. I think they played the way that was what was asked of them, and they performed credibly. So sure, Jim, I am over the moon.
Was that the original squad? Or
Well,
team?
that was the original team that we picked last Sunday, and yes, it was. There was, except for one change, and that change was Miles Green. We actually brought Shane Hihar in on the side in place of Miles, who was, because of illness in the family, he withdrew from the squad.
Okay, let's look at some of the individuals, the back line.
Well, if we want to start from the halfback, Nigel right through to Jack Higgins at fullback, I think it was a complete game by each individual. I was particularly pleased for young Monty Manuel and Graham Walker. Monty in particular, he played an outstanding game. In fact, Monty would be my player of the day today. Corey Tingahui on the wing, as you saw, he stood his opposition up a couple of times, and no, I was very, very pleased. Jack Higgins, I mean, Jack's like a good wine, he matures with age, and he played very well today.
He's well and truly matured, hasn't he?
Oh, certainly has, and I think that the coast is very, very wealthy in terms of numbers and players of the calibre that you saw out there today. As you saw when some of those guys came off, they were replaced by guys of equal calibre. So I'm very, very pleased with the back line.
Okay, let's look at the forward pack.
Forward pack once again, we had a little bit of problem settling down in the first few minutes of the game, but the rest is history now, and we know what happened. Our guys just went from strength to strength, and I think the biggest advantage that we had is firstly our ability to want to win the game, and our body positions. I thought that our guys drove in lower and harder, and their mauling. Our mauling was just unreal. It's not often that you see an East Coast team wrench the ball from the opposition the way our guys did today. So from the forwards' point of view, I thought they were tremendous. The loose trio. I don't want to name anybody in particular, but I think if we looked at Shane Hihar's game today on the blind side, he played fairly well, and so did Morgan Whitelaw, and so did E.B. Point.
The captain, Richard Carter.
Yeah, well, Richard played a very, very good game. He led from the front, and he had a bit of a skirmish there, one part there, but that was nothing. He spent 5 minutes in the sin bin, but I think his overall play, apart from that little blemish, was absolutely outstanding. His driving was first class. So I think that Richard played a very good game.
What's the future of the coast after this game?
Well, obviously we can only go from strength to strength. I hope that this is not just a one-off, and no doubt it won't be, because on the 12th of this month, 12 days time, we fly off down south, and that's when the real competition starts. We play West Coast first up, and then we travel up to Nelson Bays and play Nelson Bays. Nelson Bays will be hard, and so will West Coast. But we'll take one game at a time, and we're hopeful that our objective, of course, is to do very, very well in the third division. And if we win that division, it will be a bonus for us.
What went wrong with Poverty Bay?
Well, from my observation of Poverty Bay, I just thought they were shell-shocked, and really there was nothing wrong with them except that our guys were that much better. Our guys just wouldn't let them into the game, and this is what we said to them before the game, that the best form of defence is to attack, and our guys attacked very, very well. So we really dictated the play from go to woe. So no, I think that there was nothing wrong with Poverty Bay except our guys were that much better.
Okay, last word, Sid, about the game?
Well, I just hope that our guys can maintain the momentum, and we look forward to doing well in the remaining matches, or in the matches that are coming ahead of us in the third division competition. So that's all comments that I'd like to make.
Thank you, Sid.
Kia ora.
End of interview. 1st of June 1991, East Coast, Poverty Bay. Well, Jim, what do you think of the game today?
Well, massive game, good game from the boys, good commitment. One of the best games I've seen them play up front for ages.
Was it a game that you expected them to play?
I didn't expect that expectations from the forwards. I thought we would have been struggling a bit there, but Poverty Bay played back into our strength.
What was the initial plan for the East Coast boys against Poverty Bay?
Just to go on and tackle them off the paddock, tackle hard and play hard.
The commitment.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at your back line.
Well, I was a bit worried there for a while with lack of experience, but having Ali there, looking after these young fellas is just too big a bonus, for us, and it's just worked in our favour. These young fellas are just going that far ahead. It's going to be ridiculous, they're going to strive. This is some of these guys' second game for the coast, and they're going to improve. They can only improve. They're that young.
Nigel Henry played well, didn't he?
Beautiful game. One of the best games I've seen him play for ages, actually.
And of course, we had Ali, and you had Monty.
Yeah,
good performance from Monty.
Good commitment from him.
What was
Very
expected, or better?
Well, I think these boys in the backs, they played well because the forwards played well, and they saw the commitment the forwards were doing, and they just lifted them up. And there's nothing better than receiving ball and the forwards are going forward, and you're dominating everything.
Graham Walker once again.
Beautiful. He doesn't realise how much talent he's got, that young Wood. He's gonna go a long way, and it's up to himself. If he builds up a bit more confidence, I don't think there'd be any stopping it after this.
Wingers.
Well, we had a first tryout on Corey on the wing there, and he was exceptional. Him marking an experienced player like Amatia there, he really stood him up, showed him up, and even in defence, attack, he was virtually like having Nigel stuck out there, and the young boy is a halfback, and nobody could lay a hand on him.
Okay. Let's look at the forwards. Your captain Richard Tataba
played a good grafting game and led by example, which is one of the big
view with Jim Morris. 1st of June 1991, East Coast versus Poverty Bay. With the forward pack, with Richard Tatapa being the captain, your Leases played pretty well too, wasn't it?
Beautiful. They played. They actually turned a lot of the other driving play from the opposition back into defence by our fellas out driving them and actually taking them off the paddock, putting them on the ground. The commitment was so great from our Lucy's. They sort of dominated that area.
David Whitehall once again. Performance.
Beautiful game. He played a massive game. We virtually got another Lucy in David on the paddock. You got a fellow that's flying around front of the line out, and he's virtually another loose forward.
Okay, anything else there, James?
No, other than we are finishing off now. Like we are slowly starting to get a commitment from each of the players, and we're starting to get a bond now, and we're getting closer and closer. A lot of people are saying we should be still looking at the older players, but we're actually with these younger boys coming through now, and we're sticking by them. They're the ones turning up to training, and it's working out.
So it's taking on the ones who are committed, attitude, everything like that, isn't it? But at least, like you said, with the coaches and the players, the bond is getting closer, and can only get better and improve. Anything else, James?
No, not at this moment. I think we can expect some big things from these boys this year.
Just rolling, James.
Okay. Interview with Mac Henry, 1st of June 1991, East Coast versus Poverty Bay. Well, Mac, what do you think of the game today?
I thought it was a boomer today. After the preparation we had beforehand and watching the boys train and work out this morning, I thought there's more than a chance of winning today. And I was very happy that the boys will come in with the same attitude today, and they're all getting in there to win. And our tactic today was get in and take the game to them, and not being going the opposite like we've done in the past, going backwards. But all in all, I look at the younger players and how our captain and vice captain have actually worked in with them and set them up in their role. And I think they've found that more of their potential has come out in this game, and as a result it showed today, and I think everyone would agree with me. Looking at individual players, like in the forwards, in the packs, in the pack of forwards we had experience, and then we had the younger ones in there. But I think it helped us to work out a pattern, a team pattern for our forwards, and also in the backs where we had 4 younger players, and with Ellie as our master out there and Nigel, I think they were able to work a pattern and coincide with forwards, and I think they put up a marvellous performance today. I haven't much else to say, but I think most of it has been said. We're just looking at the crowd that attended and the support we've had for the coast team this year. We're looking forward to winning a few more games for our division.
Okay, let's look at some of the younger players like Monty Manuel.
Well, Monty's always had it. He's always had the ability to punch those gaps. In the past I've seen him play, coming up through the grades, but in the senior game, different ball game, but with potential like that, he can go a long way.
Graham Walker?
Oh, Graham is the same. Yeah, with more games, their rep games, their club games, and it's really starting to show their ability.
Richard Katiba.
Well, Richard is a man. He's if I had a set of gloves, I would have thrown it out to him, and I would say he wouldn't have come. He wouldn't have been put in the sin bin. The other man would have been carried there. Looking at that from my point of view. But I think he was my selection for our captain for the coast because of his ability to talk to joggers, and with Ali, they were able to work in together and get a good combination going with our forwards and the backs.
That's dead right back too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, like you said earlier, we had youth and then we had some of the old ones. You had Richard Katipa, E.P. Poi, David Waitor.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's the sort of joggers you can't leave out. Even though we've got a lot on the bench and a lot that haven't come forward, we've got a depth of players this year. And I think it's going to be harder and harder for them to get in.
I thought Nigel Henry played exceptionally well.
Yeah, Nigel always plays a good game. He's always out there, and there are times when he's caught out on his own, but that's Nigel. He's smaller than the other joggers, and he's able to dart in everywhere there's a gap. But not taking it away from Nigel, he's had the experience, the same with Richard. But there are times when they got their loosies beside him and they're inclined to run a bit far. But hell, that's rugby.
Corey Tangahoe is first time up on the wing.
Yeah, he's an up-and-coming player, and he's got the skills. He's got the skills of anywhere in that back line. And it has shown throughout his year, since he's been back here on the coast.
Jack Higgins played a sort of a mediocre game, very quiet game from his usual self. Was that sort of part of the game plan?
Well, I think they had this chat before the game and at half-time, and I think that was all between him and Ali. And I think they wanted to put the younger players forward and really try them out. But Jackie is a jogger, you can call on him at any time, and he's there, And he must agree with me, because he's able to come in when you want him or stay out when you don't want him.
Okay, finally, anything else?
No, I'm looking forward to the trip down south, and I think those boys that will be taking on our tour, I think they'll be all looking forward to it for the experience. I myself, I've never been out of the North Island, but I'd like to get down there with these younger boys and with the older members of the coast squad that's going down, and with my fellow selectors, and I think there's a boost to the three of us. So,
okay, let's look at the positive. What do you think of East Coast in the future, especially this season?
Well, we're going to go places. We've got the depth in our players, and to do anything. We've got enough joggers to fill all the positions. If anyone falls out today, there's another man waiting to pop in, and it's never been like that in the past.
Thank you, Mac. End of interview.
Thank you.